Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running, 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who without Mrs. B might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Excited to be with you this Monday morning. Last Monday, we had the opportunity to talk about masterminds. Today, we're going to talk about how you find and fulfill your purpose and passion. So, are you one of those people who gets up excited every morning about what you do because you know that you're making a positive impact in the lives of others? Or when that alarm goes off, do you hit the snooze button and roll over for a few more minutes of sleep? I am Regina Bergman, and today I really want us to talk about how you find the energy and the drive to turn off that alarm every day and hop out of bed excited about what you're going to accomplish and the lives that you're going to impact. Now, I know many of our listeners may be either in the corporate world or coming out of the corporate world. Maybe you still have that job, but you're thinking about leaving it and starting your own business or doing something different. You want to be your own boss. Or maybe you lost your job during COVID through one of the shutdowns or all of the things that have occurred over this last year and a half through COVID, and you're looking for that next adventure in your life. You want to be your own boss, you want to have your own business, and that is great. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I always have been. I cannot remember a time when I was not entrepreneurial, even when I was a child. And some folks call me a serial entrepreneur because of the number of businesses that I have created. So I understand that drive to be your own boss. But let me share one very important truth with you. If you are someone who's never run your own business, or maybe you've tried and succeeded in the past, you don't know what you don't know about running a business. Now, that's not your fault. No one teaches these things in school because, let's face it, school teachers aren't entrepreneurs. They don't have the personal experiences, both the successes and the failures, that would deepen their knowledge and understanding of what it takes to run a successful business. And you may have watched your employer and thought, I can do what they're doing. I can run my own business. But the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that you as an employee never see. So again, you're out there in this world of we don't know what we don't know. And the question arises then, if you don't know what you don't know, who do you ask and what do you ask? It's kind of this no-win circle, isn't it? I don't know what I don't know, but I don't know what to ask, and I don't know who can answer the question because I don't know what the question is because I don't know what I don't know. It's a vicious cycle. So I want to share with you some of the wondrous things of building a business that allows you to pursue your purpose and passion. And we're first going to talk about energy. And I talked about hopping out of bed in the morning. That's a piece of that energy, being able to wake up excited for the new day because you know that you're going to be making a difference in the world, in somebody's life today, and that fuels you when you think about that. I've frequently, some of my listeners may recognize this story, but frequently when I get off of the phone with a client, I am so excited I can't contain myself. The energy is just boiling over. And my husband is retired, so he's usually somewhere else here in the house because I run my office out of my home. And he's usually somewhere here, and I will go find him and say, "Have I ever told you how much I love what I do?" Because I just have to share it. The energy's so extreme. I can't contain it. I have to share it. So the poor man has heard that many times. Have I ever told you that I love what I do? Now, does that mean I feel that way 100% of the time? Absolutely not. There are definitely those moments in my business that are not that energizing. And there are going to be challenges in your business that absolutely can kind of stop you in your tracks and drain your energy if you let it. So, we can really enjoy what we do, but sometimes we may not feel that kind of excitement that I was sharing with you about when I get off the phone. We may not feel that excitement. And so we need to figure out, are we in the right business, first of all? Are we doing what we need to be doing? Are we serving the clients we want to serve? Are we living out our dream? Are we fulfilling our purpose and passion in life? So let's talk about that a little bit more. One of the things that helps me to know that I'm fulfilling my purpose and passion in life is that I make a difference in the lives of those I serve. And then they go out and make a difference in the lives of others. And I always say I get to be a part of the ripple effect that they create. And I do that by helping them move forward with whatever it is that they're doing and giving them the steps that they need to accomplish their goals, coaching them through that, coaching them to take their business to the next level so that they can fulfill their purpose and mission in life. And if our businesses that we create don't do that on a daily basis, don't give us that kind of energy and that kind of excitement about what we do, then we may burn out. We may lose interest in what it is that we're doing. And we may realize that we're really not quite fine tuned with our purpose and passion. So, although the title of this is Pursuing Our Purpose and Passion, we're going to deal with it in reverse order. We're going to tackle the passion piece first, and then we're going to move into purpose. So, what is passion? It's more than just about our dreams of doing big things and following our bliss, if you will. It's really all about a key word that I mentioned earlier in my story, which is energy. I get energy from doing those things that fit into my passion. Following your passion gives you a level of energy that you don't get in any other way. I can't think of anything else that makes me as excited as I told you I get when I'm on the phone with my clients and see how they're going to go out and impact the world. There's nothing else in my life, although a lot of things in my life bring me great joy, there's nothing else that brings that level of energy and excitement for me. And it requires reserves of energy to follow your passion and to see your dreams through to the accomplishments of your goals. Now, that feeling of power and drive and energy and borderline obsession that's required to achieve your dreams, that is passion. So, I have a question for you. Have you felt that level of passion and energy for what you're currently doing? Or have you felt it at some other time in your life? Have you had spurts of it? Have you had little bits of it? Is it something you live with daily? Is it something you live with routinely? I read a story once about a psychologist, a female psychologist, and she related a story about being pregnant and that when she was pregnant, she lost all of her creative energy. She drew the conclusion from this that there's a finite or a limited amount of energy reserves for us. So during the time that her body was creating and sustaining another life, she didn't have enough energy to create anything else. No creative energy left. And I think we've all experienced those times where we don't have any creative energy, right? When we think about energy and what we call fuel, those are things that really keep us motivated and they keep us going. So, passion is energy and it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, and it can even be social. So, again, physical, emotional, spiritual, and social. Those are some of the energies of passion. Now, the social part comes when you're working in groups or you're sharing your passion with others. So, in the case of social energy, we're fueled by both intrinsic and extrinsic rewards. Let's talk about that for a moment. It's really important to remember that because no matter how passionate you are about what you're doing, there are going to be some mundane things that you have to do in your job, in your career that don't excite you, right? And they're going to be there, and they don't excite that level of energy and passion for you, but they're necessary to get the job done. And in those times that we're dealing with those things, we need some external rewards. For me, talking to my clients is that that internal reward, knowing that I'm helping them move forward. That's my internal reward, my intrinsic reward. But sometimes it's necessary to give myself an external or an extrinsic reward to make sure that I meet my goal when I'm working on something that's more mundane. So when your passion is continuously sparked, when I continuously have those exciting meetings, then then your reserves of passion and energy get replenished when you're continually doing that. Or anytime you do that, you have those exciting energy producing events. It helps replenish uh, your energy. I forgot the word I want. It helps replenish your energy supply. So remember our psychologist. Her reserves were depleted when she was pregnant, and all of her energy was going into the pregnancy. When she was no longer pregnant and she was able to do the other things that energized her, it replenished the reserves. And you and I can do those same things. We need to find a balance in the work that we do so that we're not always in the mundane or even always in the energizing part. We need balance. We need both of those things. So we have to look at all the necessary parts to our job. Now, I want to talk about mindfulness for just a moment. It's a term that's more commonly used to refer to that kind of Zen-like state of mind. It's the result of living your passion and fulfilling your purpose. It's also called flow at times, and we might do a session here on flow at sometimes. But it's about being so focused on your passion that nothing else matters. Having that tremendous amount of focus. You're living in the moment and you're fueled by it, what we call the soul energy that propels you forward to the goals that you've set and that you're trying to reach. You're leaning into the work. Now, there are going to be some elements of it that aren't that exciting and that energizing, as we talked about, but they're a part of the whole picture. And you've got to take care of those as well. So when those things happen and you get stuck in the detail of things, then you have to remember your goals, right? You can have a vision board in front of you to keep your goals in mind. You can do affirmations to keep those goals in mind. All right, but we need to find that mindfulness place to help us to really give the focus to the things that we want to accomplish and to fulfilling our mission and our purpose and our passion. So, at some point in your life, did you have a big dream that you wanted to accomplish or that you thought would be really amazing to do? I think we all have big dreams. But what I want you to ask yourself is, what have you done with your big dream? When I think back over my own life, and you can do this as well, but I'll speak for all of us at the moment. When I say if I think back over my life and you think back over your life, we find oftentimes a thread that runs through our life as well. A thread of a big dream that we've had that we've probably put on a shelf because it was too big, it was overwhelming, and you didn't know how to do it. You have an inkling of what it is, but it's really hard to pull off that shelf and say, I'm going to do this. So I want you to think about your big dream that you've tucked away somewhere. And that will probably put you part way down this path of figuring out what your real passion is and the difference that you can make in the world. But you have to dream big. If you're going to find your purpose and passion, it isn't found in the little stuff, right? You've got to dream big. You've got to think big. One of the things I want you to think about doing today is listing all of those childhood dreams that you had, No matter how crazy, how wild, how funny, how big, how small, list out all of those childhood dreams that you had of things you were going to achieve. Write them all down. There are things that you dreamed about before life got in the way, right? Life gets in the way. And so, what was it that you shoved back and said, I can't do this. This is not going to work out. It's too big. It's not going to work. Put those on the list. And then after you make that list, look at it and say, which one of these really resonates with me the most? What kinds of things on this list start to pick up my energy level when I think about accomplishing them? Which ones make you feel that energy, make your heart sing? They inspire you. What are the inspiring things on your list that you make? And then you need to determine, is it realistic or achievable? Now, let me give you an example. If you've set your sights on being the first full time resident on Mars, you might have to scale it back a little bit, right? Why? Because we're not ready for that yet. Things are not in place for that to happen. So it's not realistic or achievable at the moment. So now look at your list and think about it. Are the items on there that really excite me, that energize me, are they realistic and achievable? And it has to excite you. You've got to feel it in your gut. You've got to feel it in every fiber of your being. Feel it in your heart. It doesn't have to be outrageous or huge, but it does have to be a big dream. It needs to be big enough to push you past your comfort zone, because that's where we get stuck, right? It has to be big enough that you're willing to commit to making changes in your life that will allow you to achieve that dream. You've got to want it, and it needs to spark that desire and that passion in you. Does that make sense? Are you thinking of some things already that could do that? Allow yourself to explore your memories. What did you just really love to do before you got too busy, too tired, too old, too broke to do whatever to enjoy it? What were the things that you totally loved doing? Allow yourself to explore those memories. And then also think about the wrongs that you wanted to right in the world, the problems that you wanted to solve. I think in our younger years, we all had much more active dreams and visions of what we were going to do. And we want to go back to that time in our mind, because that's going to help us find that purpose and passion. So think about um, things that you love to do before now. What was it you loved to do when you were younger and before you stopped doing them? What were those things? Think about the wrongs that you wanted to right, the problems that you wanted to solve. What is it that makes you angry when you think about a situation in the world? What makes you angry and you just wish you could do something about it? And then make some time and prioritize and embrace things that tend to make time stand still. When you're doing it, you have no conception of time. It's as it's, like many times when I'm in a conversation with people that I just love interacting with, an hour goes by, 2 hours go by, and it's like it was moments, right? Time stands still. What makes time stand still for you? What is it that you're passionate about that when you're involved in it, time stands still, or it energizes you, like my phone calls, and it energizes you to take action? Because once you've identified it, and you feel that energy, if you don't take action on it, it's going to go back on the shelf, right? You have to make it a priority to get in that moment of trying to be present, that mindfulness we talked about a little bit earlier, and then looking at, how can I move forward with this dream? How can I take it forward? What are the things that when you do them, you're just having such a wonderful time doing it? You do it all day and all night. Remember, what is it that makes time stand still? When you're not focused on time, you're focused on that thing. What is it? What is it that just energizes the heck out of you? And once you do it, it makes you want to keep on doing it. Okay, so once you've identified this, now we've got to think about it. So sorry. I got distracted by something here. I saw a message. All right. So now that you've identified what it is that you want to do, what it is that excites you, makes time stand still for you, and that if you could do it every day the rest of your life, you'd just be happy as could be. Now you have to start taking some steps towards it. You've got to move towards your purpose, no matter how small that action is. Move towards your purpose. So, how do you do that? You have to take baby steps, okay? You're going to figure out what are some actions that I can do to move towards my purpose. And remember that imperfect action is better than no action. And it can be little baby steps. So you at this point, if you've made your list, you've already taken the first baby step. And then if you've identified which one of those things on your list really energizes you and you are passionate about, and you would do it every day if you could, no matter the problems and the issues that come up, the unfun parts of it, you would do it, right? That's another baby step. You've identified it. So now we need to start taking some action. What is it that you can do? Maybe you can do some research. You can look at others who are doing the same thing, find out what kind of a market there is out there for it. Oftentimes when we're going into business for the first time, we think, oh, I'm going to do something nobody else is doing. I'm going to do something that's so totally unique. Well, we do want to do something unique, but if no one has ever done it before, there's no audience built up for it that's ready to purchase it now. And so when you're designing your new business, you want to make sure that there's already a market for it. So you have to do some research. And there's lots of elements of research that you can do. And so that will help you move in the direction that you need to move. Awesome. I hope that you so far have gotten some good information here to help you in your journey of pursuing your purpose and passion. We're going to take a little bit of a bigger look now at the purpose part of it. And so um, when you're thinking about, we've identified what we're passionate about, what energizes us. I believe personally that we are each put here on the earth for a purpose, that there is a purpose for us to do good in the world in some way. And I believe that when we figure out what that calling, that purpose is, that can tie back to doing the business that we are passionate about, making that difference. And so there's another journey that you need to go on to figure out your purpose in life. Why are you here? What is it that you're supposed to do? What is it that is the difference that you can make in the world? You know what excites you. Now we have to tie it back to what is it that I'm supposed to do in this world to make it a better place than to leave it better than I received it. Okay. To make a difference that will make a difference long term for someone, for many someones, for the world itself. And so you're going to need to think about that as well. What is my purpose? Why am I here? What difference do I make in the world? What difference am I supposed to be making in the world? I do wish this would be so much fun if you had a way of reaching out to me and sharing with me your thoughts. Let me just check something here. Yeah. So I'd like to share with you a couple of things. I have some tools on my platform uh, on Teachable that there's a tool there that is a pursuing your purpose and passion class, and it's free for anybody who wants to take advantage of it because it's so important to me that you find your purpose and passion and live it because it will make the difference in your life as well as in others. And so if anybody's interested in that, I'll happily provide you the information to go and access that course. Um, it's a self-directed course with worksheets and quizzes to help you really sit down and nail your purpose and passion and create a business around it. And I also have a Facebook group for that same purpose. So um, if you have questions that you would like to ask me, be sure and put them in the comments when you watch this. If you're watching it later or if you're watching it now, I'd love to have those comments now. And I believe that we are about to go to commercial break here. So we will pause in just a moment for commercial. And we'll see you on the other side of the commercial.
everybody. It's Trish Carr, and I'm here with another tip for you on communication and influence. And it's my pleasure to be here this morning. You know, I was thinking about a story over the weekend. I was putting together a training called Your 1 Minute Intromercial. And it is just that. It's about how do you differentiate yourself when you're going around a Zoom room, for example, and everybody is introducing themselves in 30 seconds or a minute. And I was remembering that I was at a networking and we were going around the room and a woman started to introduce herself. And she said, you know, my name is Mary Sue and I'm an attorney. And just the other day, a woman came into my office and she said, I've got to get a divorce. I've been married for 40 years and I just can't take it anymore. And I said to her, the attorney said, I said to her, what do you mean you're getting a divorce after 40 years? That's probably taken some time for you to think about and make that decision. And she said, well, at my age, I have no choice but to get a divorce now. And I looked at her, I said, at your age, what does your age have to do with it? She said, well, if I'd have just shot him 50 years ago, I would have been out by now. But now I don't have enough time, so I got to just get a divorce. And she cracked me up. I mean, it was funny. It was quick. It was a joke. We all knew it was a joke. Nobody took it personally. And we had a great time and all laughed at it. And I remembered Mary Sue was a divorce attorney. So the lesson there is that stories get your attention, even if it's a joke story, even if it's half funny, right? Stories get your attention. You know, they say facts tell and stories sell. And that's the truth, isn't it? When you hear a story, it brings things to life. It makes you connect in a different way. It actually engages your visual cortex. Like you were probably looking at the face of that woman saying, at my age, I have to get a divorce. You could probably see some type of an older woman, whatever visual came to your mind, and you now engaged your visual cortex. Most of us are visual people. So a story actually helps you bring your visual cortex to life and keeps people interested in what you have to say. So whether you are speaking to a group or you're speaking one-on-one, the thing to understand is that you can connect with facts, certainly. People want to know the facts and figures regarding your product or your service. But what they really want to hear are the stories of the people who have had the solution that you offer and the difference that that solution made for you and for them. So I want to give you a quick 1, 2, 3 step-by-step formula to connect your audience through stories. Again, this works really well when you are the person who is speaking to a group. And it also works when you're talking with someone one-on-one and you're trying to get them to see the benefits of what it is you offer, how you make a difference with that product or service with other people, and what that product or service actually does in people's lives. You can do that whether you're speaking one-on-one or speaking to groups. So it's 3 quick steps, and I'm going to give you the quick steps, and then I'm going to give you an example. Now, here's the most important thing. The story has to connect to your content, right? Right? The woman who was telling the joke about divorce was a divorce lawyer, so it connected, right? I open up oftentimes with a leadership story that also is a fun, makes you smile kind of story, but it goes to the point about leadership. I often start a story about speaking on a stage and being nervous, but it goes to the point I'm trying to make about being nervous. So when you have a story to share, whether that's your personal story, whether it's just a recapping story of something you experienced, or whether it's the story of someone who you made a difference for, that story's got to connect with whatever it is you're talking about. It can't just be a standalone, right? So connect the story with your content. So the best way to engage people and to help them to see how your services and products make a difference is to tell stories about the people that those products and services have made a difference for. Now, I know that your story probably could very well be the impetus for why you are selling that product or service and how that product or service has helped you. And your story is very important, but your story is not the only important one. Because when I go on Amazon, for example, to buy something, I'm not looking to read what it is the vendor says about their own product. Of course, they're going to say it's the greatest thing. I'm looking for what other people say about that vendor's product or service. That's the same case when you are selling your product or service. Your story is very important. However, the next thing that's important is sharing stories of people who've had the solution and for whom it made a difference. So here's your 3 steps. Number one, bring the person and the challenges that they were experiencing before they worked with you or before they bought your product, bring that to life. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, be descriptive. Whatever the challenge was, how was their day-to-day affected? How were they affected emotionally in terms of the actions they were now taking, in terms of how they felt and what they did or didn't do? What did the challenge cause to happen in their life? How was it stopping them? And what resulted in their life because of the problem? So number 1, bring the person and challenges to life. Number 2, seed your service and that you reach the result with your product or service. So you would talk about the person, what they were experiencing, and the next thing you would do is you would say, and then she called me. And as soon as she called me, we talked about what the challenge was for her. She gave me all the information I've just shared with you. And she came to my 2-day workshop. And in that workshop, we show people how to overcome this particular challenge. And they get 5 different ways to do that. And as soon as she was in day 1 of the workshop, she immediately felt better. She immediately overcame some of the fears that she was having. And by the time we finished the workshop, things had really changed for her. Okay, so the number 2 was I was seeding my service that we reached the result with. So seeding my service was she came to my 2-day workshop. She felt results in the first day. That was seeding my service. Now the audience knows, oh, she does a 2-day workshop. And in that 2-day workshop, people learn how to do this, this, and this. So now I'm in the middle. I've brought the person and challenges to life. They can see that person. I describe that person, long brown hair, big blue eyes, so they can get their visual cortex engaged. And then I seed my service. What service did we use to make a difference? Or what product did we use to make a difference? It could be as simple as, Mary Sue has red hair. And as you know, red hair doesn't hold its color very long. You've got to stay out of the sun. You've got to make sure you don't go in the pool or the water in the ocean. And it's a real challenge. And because she loved having red hair, she would come and get her hair done so that it would be bright every 3 weeks. If she went any longer than that, her hair was dull. Well, when she came to me and told me this was happening, as soon as she showed me what was happening with her hair, I know that I had a product that was going to make a big difference. So I gave her this product. This product has red pigment in it. And when you wash your hair, it keeps the red in your hair so it doesn't fade. And now she can come to get her hair colored every 4 weeks instead of every 2. So right there, I brought the person to life a little bit. I seeded my service as my hair product. And now I'm going to articulate and richly describe that her desire that she wanted was fulfilled, which is step number 3. Articulate and richly describe their desired outcome fulfilled. So I would finish with, so after we got her hair product going on her hair and she started shampooing her hair 3 times a week for using this red hair shampoo, now her hair looks shiny and bright all the time. She can go 4 weeks. She's so excited. Not only does she look great, but she's saved $50 every 2 weeks because she doubled the time that she can go between shampoos. She's so happy. Now I know that that is, an off the top of my head kind of story, but that's as simple as it is. Bring the person and challenges to life. Seed your service and that you reach the result that they wanted with your product or your service. And number 3, articulate and richly describe their desired outcome fulfilled. Let me give you an example of what that sounds like in the case of many of the people that I work with. At Women's Prosperity Network, we work with a lot of authors, speakers, coaches, health and wellness experts, people who work in the Eastern type of modalities to work with you on your internal subconscious. So here's one that we work together with one of my clients. And here's what she said. She said, I recently worked with a woman who was juggling it all. She was a mom with 3 school-aged kids. She managed her household, she managed her husband, and a full-time business. And while the business was supposed to be only 8 hours a day, most weeks she was putting in 50 to 60 hours. And she was working on weekends and into the evenings just so she could keep up. I know that you can probably really relate to that as a business person, I know. And most nights she'd be so overwhelmed she couldn't even make a decision between cooking peas or carrots or ordering pizza or tacos. Her attention span was short, her temper was getting shorter, and she was creating long-term problems, snapping at the kids, snapping at her husband, falling behind rather than getting ahead at her business. And when she woke up in the morning, all she could think about was going back to bed. She was about to break. She realized that something had to give, and she finally called me. It's funny when we're going through issues, we want help, but there's something about asking for help that we hold back. Well, she finally called me, and she said, I'm committed to changing this. I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm going to break. So we started with something that could get her quick results and give her long-term success. And that's Women's Prosperity Network's Momentum Program. The program is a combination of group mentoring and training where you get individual support, answers, and ideas for your challenges, as well as accountability to keep you in action, along with a clear structure with repeatable actions that get you where you want to go. So the first thing we did was give her some strategies and some tools that could bring her back to peace and calm in the moment. In the moment. In less than a week, she not only felt better, she got more done in that week than she had done the previous month. So it was working. And as a result of committing to making the changes and having that structure, she's significantly less stressed and is able to easily make decisions that caused analysis paralysis. We've all heard that term, right? Now she's figured out how to work less hours, bring in more clients and more money. She's doubled her revenue while reducing her hours because she's working smarter, not harder. Her husbands, her kids have told her over and over how much they like the new version she's become, and she's found her passion and purpose again for her business, for her family, and for herself. And why do you think I tell that story? I tell that story so people can understand that no matter where you are in your business and your life, there's a solution. And in this case, I'm sharing with my audience that the solution might be the accountability, the structure, the one-on-one consulting and getting answers and ideas, and that she can get that through Women's Prosperity Network. I also share that story with my audience so that they can relate. If you noticed when I was in the middle of the description, I even said something to my audience about, I'm sure you can relate. So it's a conversation between me and my audience. Then, of course, I would continue on with my data, my points, my telling facts, until it was time to tell another story. The more stories you tell, the more people will connect with you. The more you touch them emotionally, the more they're going to want to work with you. Because people buy from emotion, and then they back it up with logic. They don't start with logic and stay with logic. Emotion is an important part of any influential conversation. So be sure that you're telling stories. You're giving them some emotion. Bring the person and the challenges to life. Seed your service. You don't have to tell them what the strategies were. Just let them know that you gave strategies, or they attended a program, or they came to a training class, or they watched a webinar. Whatever it is you're inviting them to do with you, just seed that. And then lastly, articulate and richly describe their desired outcome fulfilled. Your audience will connect and relate, and they will want more from you, and they will want what you're offering them because they can see what's possible for them. I invite you to become a part of Women's Prosperity Network. These are the types of conversations that we have. We learn, we grow, we network, we connect together. If you go to womensprosperitynetwork.com, you can join for free. Dip your toe in, see what women's prosperity is all about. Because education, inspiration, and motivation are the things that keep you moving and keep you growing in business and in life. Go and join for free at womensprosperitynetwork.com and become a part of the exclusive Women's Business Directory that's at womensprosperitynetwork.com so people can find you and do business with you. 3 steps to a story formula. Go and use it. It makes a difference. You'll connect with more people. Trish Carr, Women's Prosperity Network, thank you so much for being with me. Have a wonderful day.
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before. I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me. I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.